The opposition can't prepare for the warrior. Cause a long time we've been ready. We've been ready. The opposition can't prepare for the warrior. Cause a long time we've been ready. We've been ready. Born in the warrior. Fame. Feeling like my dreams and nightmares are one and the same. The price we pay to make it is a strain. Writing life as I see it through my window panes. Busting out streets, now we even well. Animosity is coming, they wanted us to fail. Hate to disappoint, I'ma get them hell. Battle anybody, I don't care who you kill. I excel, they all fail. Got five on it with my Louis, put it in the air. My bitch took me higher, watch me I levitate. No matter what you do, some cats will forever hate. Eyes on rats, no snakes. Type to stand with the fake venom in your face. Live by any means in the race. But the paper shit I don't even want to taste. Cause I'm living out my dreams. Why you popping off? You ain't sacrifice a thing. Team was the person. The opposition can't prepare for the warrior. Cause a long time we've been ready. We've been ready. The opposition can't prepare for the warrior. Cause a long time we've been ready. We've been ready. Born in the warrior. Fame. Feeling like my dreams and nightmares are one and the same. The price we pay to make it is a strain. Writing life as I see it through my window panes. Busting out streets, now we even well. Animosity is coming, they wanted us to fail. Hate to disappoint, I'ma get them hell. Battle anybody, I don't care who you kill. I excel, they all fail. Got five on it with my Louis, put it in the air. My bitch took me higher, watch me I levitate. No matter what you do, some cats will forever hate. Eyes on rats, no snakes. Type to stand with the fake venom in your face. Live by any means in the race. But the paper shit I don't even want to taste. Cause I'm living out my dreams. Why you popping off? You ain't sacrifice a thing. Team with perseverance, bring it home the rain. Feeling like LeBron, you should label me a king. For that lady if she ever try to sing. Yeah. For that lady if she ever try to sing. The opposition can't prepare for the warrior. Cause a long time we've been ready. We've been ready. The opposition can't prepare for the warrior. Cause a long time we've been ready. We've been ready. Born in the warrior. Grand Rising, letting everything load up. We'll be starting in a little bit. Peace, peace. Grand Rising Mark Walton, Larissa Miller, Brittany Davis, the original one. Grand Rising Michael Robinson. And everybody come out, let everything load up, getting started. All the relatives feeling this rising. Thanks for catching your cab, calling Aboriginal bloodlines. Yes, sir. Today's topic, we still going through the land grants, the colleges, census, all the info, all it goes hand in hand, putting together this timeline. Today's story is history and overview of the land grant college system. It's going to be a doozy. I know complaints, Larissa Miller, what they say. My heart's still beating, so why am I mad? Okay, I think they dropping the porta potties off right now. We about to get digging. Mm-hmm. Give it 2 more minutes. Got the stories loading up. Signal moving kind of slowy. This rising, starting to pick up. Peace, original one. Love and respect for all the American Indians. This rising. April 18th, 2019. All right, let's get started. Let me post this in the chat real quick, just in case anyone uh, read along with it. History and overview of the land grant college system. It says in this chapter reviews the legislative origins of today's land grant university system, including the federal mandates to provide instructions in agricultural and mechanical arts, conduct agricultural research, and deliver knowledge and practical information to farmers and consumers. The chapter also describes the geographical dimensions of the system infrastructure by providing names and locations of land grant colleges of agriculture and of the related colleges and schools of forestry and veterinary medicine. It goes further on to state, what are land grant colleges of agriculture? Since the history of land grant colleges for agriculture is intertwined with the history of higher education for U.S. citizens of average means, the land grant system began in 1862 with a piece of legislation known as the Morrill Act. This law gave state public lands, provided the lands be sold or used for profit and the proceeds used to establish at least one college, hence land grant colleges, that would teach agriculture and mechanical arts. Land grants for the establishment of colleges of agriculture and mechanical arts were also later given to U.S. territories and the District of Columbia. The legislative mandate for these land grant colleges helped extend higher education to broad segments of the U.S. population. Goes on to state, public universities existed already in some states. However, most states responded to the Morrill Act by legislating new agricultural and mechanical arts colleges rather than endowing existing state institutions. Kerr, 1987. The act gave rise to a network of often poorly financed colleges known as the 1862s. The second Morrill Act, which provided for annual appropriations to each state to support its land grant college, was passed by Congress in 1890. Goes further on. In addition to appropriating funds, the second Morrill Act also forbade racial discrimination in administers and admissions policies for colleges. Receiving these federal funds, a state could escape these provisions, however, if separate institutions were mandated and the funds divided, but not necessarily equal manner. Thus, the 1890 Act led to the establishment of land grant institutions for so-called African Americans. Today, they are 17 1890 institutions, including one private institution, Tuskegee University, located primarily in the Southeast. It states, in addition to being part of the land grant system, these 17 1890 schools are among more than 100 historical black colleges and universities in the United States. It states the first Morrill Act of 1862, donating public lands for colleges of agriculture and mechanical arts. It states, and it further be enacted, that all monies derived from the sale of lands are for said by the states to which the lands are appointed, and from the sale of land script herein before provide for, shall be invested in stock of the United States or of the states.
or some other safe stocks, yielding not less than 5% upon the per value of said stocks, and that the money so invested shall constitute a perpetual fund, the capital of which shall remain forever undismissed, except for far as, hold on, let me blow this up. Sorry, redo it. The writing kind of small. Okay, that's more like it. Okay, let's start from here. It says, so investment shall constitute a perpetual fund, the capital of which shall remain forever undiminished, as may except for as may be provided in section 5th of this act, and the interest of which shall be inviolable, appropriated by each state which may take and claim the benefit of this act to the endowment, support, and maintenance of at least one college where the leading subject shall be, without excluding other scientific and classical studies, and including military tactics, to teach such branches of learning as are related to agriculture and the mechanic arts, in such manner as the legislators of the state may respectively prescribe, in order to promote the liberal and practical education of the industrial classes in several pursuits and professions in life. It goes on to say, over the decades, as the U.S. economy grew and changed, so did the nature of demand for education and scientific pursuit. As more and more U.S. citizens began to attend college, most colleges of agriculture were transformed into fully fledged universities. In some states like California, Maryland, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, land grant universities have become the foremost public institution of higher education and scientific research. In others, such as North Carolina, Michigan, and Oregon, higher education and research functions are shared with other prominent public institutions. It says today, although many land grant universities are still known for their agricultural college roots, others have little agricultural identity and students are rarely from farm families. Despite their expansion well beyond the teachings of agricultural and mechanical arts, almost every land grant university still has a college of agriculture. Colleges more similar to each other than are the universities where they are located. It states over time, colleges of agriculture have been established at non land grant universities as well. The relative role of non land grants in education and educating students in agriculture related academic specializations is discussed in Chapter 3. It says a series of legislative acts endowed the colleges with a three-part function encompassing teaching, research, and extension. Grand Rising TMH.
Grand Rising. Hope everyone's doing well.
It says Table 1 is location names of 1862 and 1890 land grant colleges of agriculture and related colleges and schools of forestry and veterinary medicine. This gonna be a doozy. First on our list, we have Auburn. Classification 1862. It was established in 1856. College of Agriculture, School of Forestry, and it's a College of Veterinary Medicine. We got That's Auburn, Alabama. Now we have what to say, Normal, Alabama. That's Alabama AMU, 1890. It was its classification year. It's been established since 1873. And it states it's a school of agriculture and home economics. Next, Tuskegee. The name is Tuskegee University. Classification 1890. Established 1881. College of Agricultural and Home Economics. School of Veterinary Medicine. We got Alaska for now. Alaska. Fairbanks, University of Alaska, 1862, established 1917, School of Agriculture and Land Resources Management. Next, we have what to say, American Soma Pogo Pogo, American Soma Community College, 1862, 1970, agricultural program. Next is Arizona, Flagstaff, Northern Arizona University. It doesn't have a classification. Hold on, I got it. Classification say NLG. We'll find out what that means. It's established 1899, and it's a school of forestry. Tucson, Arizona, University of Arizona. 1862, 1885 was its establishment. College of Agricultural, School of Renewable Resources. Arkansas, Fayetteville, University of Arkansas. 1862, 1871 was its established date. Division of Agriculture. Still in Arkansas next, Pine Bluff, University of Arkansas. 1890, 1873, School of Agriculture and Home Economics. Next, California. What's that? Arcata, Humboldt State University. NLG, 1913. College of Natural Resources. Berkeley, University of California. 1862, 1868 is its established date. College of Natural Resources. Davis, University of California. 1862, established 1908. College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences, School of Veterinary Medicine. We have Davis. No, we did Davis. Riverside, University of California, 1862, established 1907. College of Natural and Agricultural Sciences. San Luis Apis, San Luis, and that's California Polytechnic State University, NLG, 1901, College of Agriculture. Moving on to Colorado, Fort Collins, Colorado State University, 1862, 1870, College of Agricultural Sciences, College of Natural Resource Sciences, College of Veterinary Medicine and Biomedical Sciences. Connecticut, New Haven, Yale, NLG, 1701, School of Forestry and Natural Resources. SOAS, University of Connecticut, 1862, 1881, College of Agricultural and Natural Resources. Moving on to Delaware, Dover, Delaware State University, 1890, 1891, Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources. Newark, University of Delaware, 1862, 1743, College of Agricultural Sciences. District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., University of the District of Columbia, 1862 is its classification, established in 1851, College of Life Sciences. Next, we have Florida, Gainesville, University of Florida, 1862, established in 1853, College of Agricultural and Conservation, School of Forestry, College of Veterinary Medicine. Tallahassee, Florida AMU, 1890, established 1887, College of Engineering, Science and Technology. Next, Georgia, Athens, University of Georgia, 1862, 1785, College of Agricultural and Environmental Science, School of Forest Resources, College of Veterinary Medicine. Fort Valley, Fort Valley State College, 1890. 1895, established date, School of Agriculture, Home, Economics and Applied Programs. This is Magnolia, University of Guam, 1862, 1952, College of Agricultural and Life Sciences. Hawaii, Honolulu, University of Hawaii, 1862, established 1907, College of Tropical, Agricultural, and Human Resources. Idaho, Moscow, University of Idaho, 1862, established 1889, College of Agricultural, College of Forestry, Wildlife, and Range Sciences. Illinois, Carbondale, Southern Illinois University, NLG, 1874, College of Agriculture, Department of Forestry. Urbana University, Illinois, 1862 to 1867, College of Agriculture, College of Veterinary Medicine. Indiana, West Lafayette, Purdue University, 1862 to 1869, College of College of Agriculture and School of Veterinary Medicine. Iowa, Ames, Iowa State University of Science and Technology, 1862, established 1858, College of Agriculture, College of Veterinary Medicine. Kansas, Manhattan, Kansas State University, 1862, established 1863, College of Agriculture, College of Veterinary Medicine. Kentucky, Frankfort, Lexington. Okay, no, they got them too close. We in Kentucky, Frankfort, Kentucky State University, 1890, 1886, and I guess it got moved to Lexington, which is the University of Kentucky, 1862 to 1866, College of Agriculture. Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Louisiana State University, 1862 to 1860, College of Agricultural, College of Veterinary Medicine. Baton Rouge, Ruston, Southern U, and A&M, 1890, well, Baton Rouge. Southern U and AMU, 1890 College. 1880 College of Agriculture and Home Economics. Now we at Ruston. Louisiana Tech University, NLG, 1894, School of Forestry, Wildlife and Fisheries. Maine, Orono, University of Maine, 1862, established 1865, College of Natural Resources, Forestry and Agriculture. Maryland, College Park, University of Maryland, 1862 to 1856 was established date, College of Agriculture. Prince Anne, University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, 1890, established in 1886, School of Agricultural Sciences. Massachusetts, Ernest, University of Massachusetts, 1862, established 1821, College of Food and Natural Resources. Medford, Tufts University, NLG, established in 1852, School of Veterinary Medicine. Michigan, Ann Arbor, University of Michigan, NLG, School of Natural Resources. East Lansing, Michigan State University, 1862. Established 1855, College of Natural Resources, College of Veterinary Medicine. Houghton, Michigan Technology University, NLG, 1885, School of Forestry and Wood Products. We got what's this? Micronesia, Kona, College of Micronesia, 1862, College of Tropical Agricultural Sciences. Minnesota, Minneapolis, University of Minnesota, 1862, established 1851. College of Agricultural, Food, and Environmental Sciences. College of Natural Resources, College of Veterinary Medicine. Mississippi, Norman, Alcorn State University, 1890, established in 1871. Division of Agricultural Research and Applied Economics. State College, Mississippi State University, 1862, established in 1878. College of Agriculture and Home Economics, School of Forest Resources, College of Veterinary Medicine. Missouri, Columbia, University of Missouri, 1862, established in 1839. College of Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resource, College of Veterinary Medicine. Jefferson City, Lincoln U, 1890 to 1866, was established in 1866. College of Agricultural, Applying Science, and Technology. Montana, Bozeman, Montana State University, 1862, established in 1893. College of Agriculture. Missoula, University of Montana, NLG, 1893, School of Forestry. Nebraska, Lincoln, University of Nebraska, 1862, established 1869, College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources. Nevada, Reno, University of Nevada, 1862, established in 1874, College of Agriculture. Hampshire, New Hampshire, Durham, University of New Hampshire, 1862, established in 1866, College of Life Science and Agriculture. New Jersey, we say Rutgers, the Rutgers, 1862, established 1766, Cook College. New Mexico, Las Cruz, New Mexico State University, 1862, established 1888, College of Agriculture and Home Economics. New York, Cornell University, 1862 to 1865, College of Agriculture and Life Science. Say New York Veterinarian College. Syracuse, State of New York, NLG, established 1911, College of Environmental Science and Forestry. North Carolina, Greensboro, North Carolina, A&T State University, 1890, established in 1891, School of Agriculture. Durham, Duke University, NLG, 1838, School of the Environment. Raleigh, North Carolina State University, 1862, established in 1887, College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, College of Forest Resources, School of Veterinary Medicine. North Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota State University, 1862, established in 1890, College of Agriculture. Northern Mariners Sapani, Northern Mariners College, 1862, School of Agriculture and Life Sciences. Ohio, Columbus, Ohio State University, 1862, established 1870, College of Food and Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, College of Veterinary Medicine. Oklahoma Lansing, Stillwater, Oklahoma Lansing U, 1890, Department of Agriculture and Division of Agriculture. 1897 is it's established. Stillwater is Oklahoma State University, 1862, established in 1890, Division of Agricultural Science and Natural Resources, College of Veterinary Medicine. Oregon, Corvallis, Oregon State University, 1862 to 1868, College of Agricultural Sciences, College of Forestry, College of Veterinary Medicine. Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, University of Pennsylvania. NLG, 1740s established state School of Veterinary Medicine. University Park, the Pennsylvania State University. 1862, established in 1855, College of Agricultural Sciences, School of Forest Resources. Puerto Rico, Rico Pordez, excuse me, Rico Padres, University of Puerto Rico. 1862, established in 1900, College of Agricultural Sciences. Rhode Island, Kingston, University of Rhode Island. 1862, 1892, established College of Resources and Development. South Carolina, Clemson, Clemson University. 1862, established in 1889, College of Agricultural Science, College of Forest and Recreational Resources. Orangeburg, South Carolina State College, 1890, established in 1896, Department of Agribusiness and Economics. South Dakota, Brookings, South Dakota State University, 1862 to 1884, College of Agricultural and Biological Sciences. And the list goes on. Tennessee, Knoxville, University of Tennessee, 1862, established in 1794, College of Agricultural Science and Natural Resources, College of Veterinary Medicine. Nashville, Tennessee State University, 1890, 1912, School of Agricultural and Home Economics. Texas, College Station, Texas A&M, 1862, established 1876, College of Agricultural and Life Science, College of Veterinary Medicine. Nacogdoches, Stevens F. Austin State University, NLG, 1917, School of Forestry. Prairie View A&M University, 1890, 1876, Department of Agriculture. Utah, Logan, Utah State University, 1862, established 1888, College of Agriculture. Vermont, Burlington, University of Vermont, 1862, 1791, College of Agriculture and Life Science, School of Natural Resources. Virgin Islands, St. Thomas, University of the Virgin Islands, 1862, established in 1963, College of Administrations. Virginia, Blacksburg, Virginia Polytechnic, 1862, Institute and State University. 1862, established in 1872, College of Agriculture and Life Science, School of Forestry and Wildlife. It says Virginia, Maryland Regional College of Veterinary Medicine. Petersburg, Virginia State University, 1890, 1882, established date, School of Agriculture and Applied Sciences. Washington, Pullman, Washington State University, 1862, established 1890, College of Agriculture and Home Economics, College of Veterinary Medicine. Seattle, University of Washington, NLG, established 1861, College of Forestry and Resources. West Virginia, Morgantown, West Virginia University, 1862, established 1867, College of Agriculture and Forestry, Division of Forestry. Wisconsin, Madison, University of Wisconsin, 1862, established in 1836, College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, School of Natural Resources, School of Veterinary Medicine. Wyoming, Lormiri, University of Wyoming, 1862, established 1886, College of Agriculture. Let me put right here. Where we at? Okay. It says, note, non-land grant NLGs. That's what the NLG stands for, non-land grant institutions. Included in this. All right. No, that's just side notes. That's in the article. Okay. But the NLG stands for non-land grant colleges. TMH, any feedback or anything you want to add on before we go further on into the article? This one a deep one.
It's interesting how some of these universities that are land grant, well, not land grant colleges, but they did have some form of land grant, are actual rivals,
Mm-hmm.
like Auburn and Alabama, Virginia Tech and Virginia State. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just interesting how that all happens, how it all plays out. That's pretty much all I got as far as observations. Just trying to pull up some other background information, but I'm having some technical difficulties. Outside that, everything is fine.
If I move on, there's one thing I noticed. When did the Civil War start again? The so-called Civil War start again?
1861.
It's kind of funny that they supposed to be fighting the war, but all these colleges are popping up in 1862. I'm just saying, but we'll come back to it. It just stuck out to me.
Yeah, it is interesting. They have a
Yeah.
lot. They have so many um people. They have so many people that have a lot of ingenuity. They can do a lot of places and do a lot of things in different places simultaneously. Must have been a lot of magicians.
Yeah, I mean, it was a whole lot of. Hold on, let me bring this up real quick, because it was on the thing, so the chat can see it on the screen as well, real quick. Give me like, let's say 20 seconds, putting it in place right now. I'm putting a map up that shows where they popped up at, so everybody on screen can actually see the same thing. Yeah, it's up on the screen now. You see the dots and everything of the colleges popping up. Now, how's there a civil war again? If the country's supposed to be split right down the middle, north and south, by looking at this map,
Well,
I'm just gonna ponder on it for a minute. I mean, really, how?
mm, two men fought for the Union, and then
Mm-hmm.
750,000 for the Confederate, and then there was another 2.4 million slaves.
So if you're fighting a war, doing all this, you notice if everybody look at the screens, I don't know if you're on your phones, computers, or whatever device, but you see the black dots on the map. Those are the colleges that we just read off. That we just went through the list. The first sets. Now these are the first sets. We didn't get to the second sets. We still in the 1860s.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if there's a war in 1861, but you setting up these colleges in 1862, 1863, how? They were ducking mortar shells and building the building as well.
hmm Don't forget to building the dams
Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
and the hospitals and mental institutions that were connected to them. Let's not forget those.
That's popping up at the same time. The cities just popping up at the same time. Now let me get back into this article. Might about to have my head explode for a second. Oh, and what else I wanted to point out too. You notice Puerto Rico had a college back in 1861. St. Thomas and the Virgin Islands had universities back in the 1800s. But we'll come back to that. It just puzzled me. It states the 1862 Morrill Act gave the land grant colleges their mandate to teach. The colleges acquired a research function in 1887 through the Hatchet Act, which recognized the need for original research to underpin the teaching of agriculture and help develop agricultural innovations. The legislation funded a system of state agricultural experiment stations, most of which were established under the direction of the 1862 land grant colleges. Today, S.A. E SAESs operate in conjunction with and in almost all cases on locations at colleges of agriculture. Connecticut and New York, in addition to on-campus SAESs, have an off-campus SAES. Many other states have branch stations that is SAES subsidiaries located off campus and often in agricultural areas of direct interest to the branch station's research. Most facilities at land grant colleges of agriculture have SAES's appointments. This grants them potential access to Hatch research funds, which are administered by the USDA and funded and funneled to the SAES on a formula basis. Some facility scientists who have SAES appointments also conduct research at other colleges that have related programs, such as in the life science. The SAES director and the dean of the College of Agriculture are usually, but not always, the same person. Hmm. With the 1914 Smith-Lever Act, the colleges took on a third function called extension, which was designated to dismantle agricultural college generated knowledge beyond the campus to farms and consumers. Extensions was to be, yeah, let me redo that. Within the 1914 Smith-Leveler Act, the colleges took on a third function called extension, which was designed to disseminate agricultural college generated knowledge beyond the campus to farms and consumers. Extension was to be a cooperative activity between the federal government through USDA and the states through the land grant colleges, county governments through a net worth. A county and extension agents soon became cooperative extension partners.
That's interesting. Now we know how they were able to reach out to those immigrants that came here to learn how to farm through the extensions.
hmm
Hmm.
It says chronological of major legislation affecting the land grant colleges of agricultural system. Oh boy, I just heard the dynamite go off. It say year 1862. Legislation Act of Congress mandated the U.S. Department of Agriculture (USDA) to take over agricultural science functions of the Patent Office. It's a key result: established the Office of Commissioner of Agriculture. It's a funding mechanism. No, it says funding mechanism. It has nothing under it. Okay. Now it says 1862. Another act was passed. Hold on. 1862 Act of Congress mandated the U.S. Department of Agriculture (USDA) to take over agricultural science functions of the Patent Office. Established the Office of Commissioner of Agriculture. Okay. 1862 the Morrill Act provide for land of which each state could establish and maintain at least one college to teach without excluding other scientific and classical studies, including military tactics, courses related to agriculture and mechanical arts in order to promote the liberal and practical education of industrial classes. They say the key result in this was establish the land grant college system. The funding mechanism for this was each state would receive 30,000 acres of land for each senator and representative in Congress. States were not States where not enough public land was available were given scrip to public lands in other states. The income from the land to be used for operating expenses, construction, purchase, repair of buildings excluded.
And
Next.
does
Oh,
it
you was
say?
gonna say something?
Does it
Go ahead.
say? Does it say what repair of what buildings are they bound by what they can use this money for? They can use this money for anything they see fit. Because doesn't seem like there's a stipulation on it. I'm just asking.
Yeah, because in parentheses it says each state would receive 30,000 acres of land for each senator and representative and Congress. States where not enough public land was available were given scrip to public land in other states. The income from the land to be used for operating expenses, construction, purchase, repair of buildings excluded. So I guess however they defined it. But it gets even more interesting.
Uh oh.
1887, the Hatchet Act.
Hatchet
Sanctioned
Act.
the Hatchet Act, yeah. Sanctioned each state to establish an experiment station to conduct original research or verify experiments bearing directly on the agricultural industry of the United States. Stations were to be established under direction of land grant colleges, but exceptions were permitted. It said establish the state agricultural experiment stations, the SAESs. Say each qualifying state will receive $15,000 per year. You know what that is, right? You know what those are?
No, what are those?
You know how you have like Georgia Tech, right?
Yeah.
And then you probably go like 40 miles off and you'll see Georgia Tech Southern Agricultural Division. That's what
Oh
the
yeah.
SAESs are.
Okay.
How you'll see one college here, but it can be broken up over miles and they have like the little farm things over here, or they doing like botany over here, multiple campuses but 100 miles away from each other.
Hmm.
Because remember, if they didn't have the space, it allowed them to get land from another states.
Right.
Because just because that college is in that state, don't mean that state owns that college. Next, 1890 is the second Morrill Act. First proposed in 1872, Act provided for direct annual appropriations to each state to further support land grant colleges. Each state could receive additional funds to more completely endow and support land grant colleges. The funds were to pay for instructions in agriculture, mechanical arts, English language, and branches of mathematics, physical, natural, and economic sciences related to agriculture and mechanical arts. It states African Americans were to be admitted to land grant institutions. States could establish separate land grant colleges for African Americans.
So even the HBCUs, historically black colleges,
hmm
are land grant universities.
Yep. First proposed in 1872, took full effect in 1890. But it's kind of funny. I didn't call nobody no African American in 1890, but I digress. It says forbidable racial discrimination and admission to colleges receiving funds and gave rise to the so-called 1890 colleges. It says the funding mechanism for this said Congress would give each qualifying state 15,000 the first year and increase the amount by 1,000 per year for subsequent years until the annual amount reaches 25,000 a year for each. Let's continue. 1906, the Adams Act provided each state additional federal funding to pay the necessary expenses of conducting original research and experiments. Emphasized science and more accountability coincide with the formation of Experimenting Station Committee of Organization and Policy, the ESCOP. The funding mechanism for this states each qualifying state would receive a maximum of an additional 15,000 per year. Each state was entitled to an increase of 5,000 for the first year and 2,000 more than the previous year's sum for 5 subsequent years. Well, we're still not done. 1907, Nelson's Amendment. Same as the second Morrill Act, with the additional specification that a portion of the fund could be used for providing courses for the special preparation of instructions for teaching the elements of agriculture and mechanical arts. It says it doubled annual appropriations to $50,000.
50,000. Wow. Okay.
1914, the Smith-Lever Act created cooperative extension service to aid to the public in useful and practical information about subjects relating to agriculture and home economics and to encourage its application. The land grant colleges and USDA were to cooperate in extensive work, which was to consist of instructions and practical demonstrations in agriculture and home economics to persons not attending the land grant college. Information was to be supplied through field demonstrations. Established the cooperative extension service. It said the funding mechanism provided lump sum of 10,000 per state, 480,000 total, $480,000 total, an additional formula funding. Formula funds were based on what percentage of the U.S. rural population resided in the state. Formula funding phased in over 7 years to a maximum of 4.1 million. That 4 million threw me. The formula money was to be matched by state funds.
So hold on. So to get the money and then it's going to be matched. So when they say match, it means to the
Dollar
same
for
amount.
dollar.
Okay, just checking.
I gotta read this again. Provided lump sum of 10,000 per state, $480,000 total, and an additional formula funding. Formula funds were based on what percentage of the U.S. rural population resided in the state. Formula funding phased in over 7 years to a maximum of 4.1 million. The formula money was to be matched by state funds. Mm-mm, mm-mm-mm. 1917, the Smith-Hughes Vocational Education Act made federal grants available to eligible states to stimulate vocational education in agriculture, home economics, and industrial arts. Grants were for A. Training of teachers by public colleges, and B. Funding part of the salaries of teachers and directors of vocational agricultural subjects in secondary public schools. It says no specific statement made regarding funding. After 4.1 million, who needs it? All right. 1925, the Morrill Act states each state could receive additional federal funding for research to A, establish and maintain a permanent and efficient agricultural industry, and B, develop and improve the rural home and rural life. It says provide first emphasis on economics, home economics, and social and psychological. And yeah, hold on, bled in too much. Provide first emphasis on economics, home economics, and social and psychology and sociology. Each qualifying state could receive a maximum of 30,000 per year. Each state was entitled to an increase of 10,000 for the first year and 5,000 over the previous year's sums for four subsequent years. 1824, Caper Catchem Act. It says provide for expansion of corporate extension services. An additional lump sum grant of 20,000 per state, 980,000 total per year, and an additional 500,000 starting in 1929 to be allocated by formula. Required 1/3 of funding of added funds to be matched in 1923 and fully matching after 1928.
That's a lot of money going into these schools.
And we're just in 1928. 1935, Bankhead Jones Act. Research. SAES and USDA could receive additional funding for research into basic problems of agriculture. Researching. relating to quality improvements, new and improved methods of production and distribution, and new and extended uses in markets for agricultural commodities, research and relating to conservation, development, and recreational use of land and water. Establish formula funding for research and federal state matching grants. Research, a maximum of 5 million per year, with 3 million to the SAEES, a total increment of 1 million per year for each of the 5 years. Funds to be distributed to the states on the basis of what percentage of total U.S. rural population resided in their state, and each state must match federal contributions with non-federal funding of the SAES.
Hold on, read that last part about the representative again.
Let me see. Fundings to be distributed to the states on the basis of what percentage of total U.S. rural population resided in their state, and each state must match federal contributions with non-federal funding of the SAES.
And what year is this?
This is 1935. Oh, they not done. They not done. They back they in the same year extensions. Another extension. Two extensions were added on to this.
Wow.
Provided for expansion of cooperative extension service. Extensions. Same year now. They came right back like a week later. An additional lump sum grant of 200,000 per state, 980,000 total per year, and an additional $8 million allocated to states by formula in 1936, and 1 million additional in each of the next 4 years. Formula funds to be allocated by state share of U.S. farm population, matching not required. Gonna read that one again so anybody who missed that one. An additional same year, an additional lump sum grant of 20,000 per state, 980,000 total per year, and an additional 8 million allocated to states by formula in 1936, and 1 million additional in each of the next 4 years. Formula funds to be allocated by state share of U.S. farm population. 1945, Bankhead-Flanagan Act. Say the key results provide for further expansion and extensions of services. The funding mechanism 2% of the federal appropriation was for federal administration, 4% was set aside for the Secretary for Special Need allocation, and 94% distributed by a formula based on a state's percentage of total U.S. farm population. 1946, Research and Marketing Act. SAES and the USDA could receive additional funding for marketing and utilization research and for regional research involving two or more states involved in finding a solution to a problem of regional significance. Introduce open-end appropriations link agricultural research and development to national welfare, state goals of Congress to maintain a balanced farming in this in a balanced farming and industrial economy, establish farming industrial national advisory committee. Go back to the top here where it states the funding mechanism. Title 1, Section 9. Total SAES funding up to 2.5 million in 1947 and 1948. 5 million increase for each of 1947, 1950, and 1951. Such additional funds as Congress shall deem necessary for additional years. Hold on. Allocation among states 20% equally among states 26% by formula according to states' percentage of U.S. rural population, 26% by formula according to states' percentage of total U.S. farm population, 25% for regional research, 3% for federal administration. Title 1, Section 10. Increase USDA funding for research. Authorize grants for new use. Research to increase from 3 million in 1947 to 15 million after
Whoa.
1950. Fund for cooperative research into farm products. Utilization to raise from 1.5 million in 1947 to 6 million after 1950. Reauthorize 2 million annual special research funding provided for the Bankhead Jones Act of 1935. Title II, authorize an additional 2.5 million in 1947 and increasing to 20 million per year after 1950 for marketing research carried out cooperatively with a SAES and other public and private institutions on a matching grant base. 1953, amend Smith-Lever Act. Consolidate 9 existing acts and provide for appropriations for federal extension staff in the USDA. Provide that subsequent increase be, oh my goodness. Provide that subsequent increases be allocated 4% to special need, 48% based on the state's percentage of the U.S. farm population, and 48% based on the state's share of rural population. 1955. Hatchet Act proposed to support research contributing to the maintenance of a permanent and effective agricultural industry in the United States, including research basic to the problems of agriculture in its broadest aspects and research related to the development and improvement of rural home and rural life and the maximum contribution of agriculture to the welfare of consumers. Remove restrictions on buildings, but hatchet funds still had to be spent within the year awarded. Retain allocation formulas, matching grant requirements, and open-ended appropriations. Congress rejected a proposal to reduce marketing research by 20% and insisted that earmarking apply to all increases in appropriations. Consolidated federal funds for SAES into 2 accounts, formula funds and regional research funds. No set annual amounts were established. Allocation was according to the formula from the 1946 Research and Marketing Act. 20% of each year's appropriation equally among states, 26% by formula according to a state's percentage of the U.S. rural population, 26% by formula according to a state's share of the U.S. farm population, 25% for cooperative regional research, 3% for federal administration. 1955, Smith-Lever Amendment provided for establishment of special program system. Provisions added permitted special non-formula funds. 1960, Amendment to Title II, Section 22 of the Bankhead Jones Act. The Steins Act, same as the Morrill Act of 1862 as amended and supplemented. The funding mechanism, annual appropriations of $7,650,000 distributed equally among the states in Puerto Rico, $4,307,000 allotted based on the proportion of state, Puerto Rico population to the total U.S. and Puerto Rican population. 1961, Smith-Lever Act, Resource and Community Development Extension added, provided 700,000 per year for resource and community development work. 1962, Smith-Lever Amendment, froze the distribution of current federal funds to each state, subsequently increases by 4% to the federal service, and of the remainder 20% in equal proportions to all states and 40% based on a state's percentage of U.S. rural population and 40% according to its percentage of the U.S. farm population. 1962, McIntyre-Stevens Forestry Research Act made funding available to the SAES land grant colleges and forestry schools for forestry research, including reforestation, woodlands and related watershed management, outdoor recreation, wildlife habitats, wood utilization, and such other studies as may be necessary to obtain the fullest and most effective use of forest resources. Coincide with the formation of the Cooperative State Research Service CSRS in 1961 through 1963, CSRS to administer appropriations under the McIntyre-Stevens Act. A formula allocated $10,000 to each state, 40% of the remainder according to a state's share of the nation's total commercial forest land, 40% according to the value of its timber cut annually, and 20% according to its contribution of non-federal forestry research dollars. In both 1964 and 1965, $1 million was appropriated, 2% of CSR managed funds. By 1974, this figure had increased to more than 6 million annually, 7% of the CSRS managed money. And by 1984, it was up to almost 13 million, or 6% of the combined federal funding to states for agricultural research and development. This is starting to bother my nerves because I'm noticing something.
What are you noticing?
This is this ain't about no education, man. This is a land grab. This is how they took the land.
And I decided to do some research on one of my devices, and I looked up and people, piece of the chat. Forgive me for not speaking earlier. I decided to look up where the locations of the battles were,
Mm-hmm. They
and
going hand in hand.
well, I can't prove it, but where would you think the Civil War was fought? So where would you think the majority of the Civil War was fought?
I think the by looking at the map of the colleges,
Hmm.
the South and over here where you're looking at Iowa, Ohio, all them areas. I'm just looking at I'm guessing by the colleges on the map.
So here's a question, and everybody in the chat, please chime in. I always believe that the Civil War was fought in between eastern border states
Mm-hmm.
from maybe what, I don't know, let's say Delaware all the way down to maybe North Carolina, South Carolina.
Yeah, the way they always tell the story.
Well, according to Wikipedia, list of American Civil War battles,
Mm-hmm.
American Civil War battles were fought between 1812, 1861, and May 12th and 13th through 1865 in 23 states.
Let me guess what 23 states.
Think about it. There were fought in 23 states. The Civil War was fought in 23 states.
Would it be them 23 states in the South where you notice you got like two colleges in each state?
States like Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Vermont, Virginia, West Virginia, District of Columbia, as well as the following territories: Arizona Territory, Colorado Territory, Dakota Territory, Indian Territory. So you mean to tell me that there was civil wars fought on Indian Territory, present day Oklahoma, New
When they were
Mexico
fighting
Territory,
Indians at the same time.
New
Really?
Mexico Territory, and Washington Territory, and naval engagements? These battles would change its stand and the historical memory of the United States. While the origins of the war were complex, principal among them were the issue of slavery and the interpretations of the Constitution and the rules, rights, and qualifications that is embodied. So,
That's how they took it. Because there's a college in every so called state. That's how they seized the land.
so here's an interesting thing. That says for a list of battles organized by campaign and theater. I'm gonna just put that out again. For a list of battles organized by campaign and theater, see Eastern Theater of the American Civil War, Western Theater of the American Civil War, Trans-Mississippi Theater of the American Civil War, Pacific Coast Theater of the American Civil War, Lower Seaboard Theater of the American Civil War, Category Battles of the American Civil War. What happens in the theater? It's a play, right?
Yep.
Just wonder. So they got these. They have these campaigns. They say
Yeah,
the Battle of
Ultimate
Fort
Tiff.
Sumter.
Yeah,
The Battle of
Ultimate
Fort.
Tiff said something too that was starting to come up. Didn't mean to
What's
cut
that?
you off.
No, go
That
ahead.
these colleges ain't nothing but forts. They're nothing but forts when they were seizing land. Because when you keep reading what they did when they saying, okay, somebody kept giving them money to buy more land. And for these
Mm-hmm.
states in the north that didn't have land, think about when the state ran out of land, what they allowed them to do.
They
Buy land
get
in other states, right?
right. Get extensions. Yeah.
And that's all they did was kept because you see, I don't know if you can see the screen where it got the map showing.
Yeah, I see it.
You notice dead in the center where they went, there's only one college per state.
Mm-hmm.
But you're looking at where they had to lock off where Texas at, California. But all in the area where they settled at. I'm like, wow, you know that moment when you discover something, but then you even more matter?
Yeah. And here's the funny thing, the sad thing too. This stuff has been in our face the whole time.
And think about it. I'm just at 1956 with these laws that they're still snatching land in 1956, everybody. And just to let you know, it stops in 1994, I'm just in 1956, and there's a whole like, hold on, I'm on page what? I'm on page 12. I got page 13 to go, 14, page 13 and 14 to go. More laws and acts of seizing land. Oh my goodness! But did you see how the money increased too?
Yeah, I saw that.
But who? Where's this money coming from? How is the states matching this money? Is that how they took the South from our ancestors?
Sounds that
Because they
way, bro.
because they said they had to match whatever they was able to put up.
Yeah. I mean,
So now, if our areas, we got 2, 3 colleges in our areas, that mean our ancestors, if they were running the state, would have to match the funding for all 3 of them colleges.
and what they said was a civil war, that means they didn't have the money. And if you think about it,
Mm-hmm.
if you look at some of the read some about some of the Indian schools that were in the South, they would talk about how they was running out of money because they couldn't keep funding the university.
Mm-hmm. Just like your HB. No, I'm gonna leave that alone. We'll tie that in some other time. But
I'm look, I don't have my computer here, but I'm gonna have to do some research, and I encourage all those in chat to do some research as to how close in proximity these universities are to these battles. Because if you're thinking about it, a lot of these universities were built during the same time as the Civil War was going on. If you're fighting, how are you gonna have a building to? How are you
for
gonna build when
real.
there's a war zone?
And why would it still be standing now? There's a war going on.
Oak Cliff Tiff said, did the Queen fund this? I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, somebody had to fund it because who was giving them the money to put up on the table to be like, okay, y'all, this is our proportion. Now y'all have to match. So that's what it was. And like you said, a civil dispute, financial, commerce.
Antonio said universities expand all the time to enlarging their footprint, not utilizing their expanding the government footprint through grants. That's true, Antonio. And like I said, I can't wait to see how close in proximity these universities are to these wars. Because you got to realize the war got started in 1861, and then as soon as that war got started, they said it was in response. The Land Grant Act was in response to the North losing.
Hmm.
Was it so when they say they was losing, were they losing the purchasing, or were they losing because they weren't able to purchase the land as fast?
We know that much is true because what did we do 2 days ago? Free whites were not allowed to buy land in the South.
Antonio said, keep in mind you can't do anything on the lands without the university's approval. And on top of that, they have boards of trustees
But who is
and
the
whatnot.
university? Let's go back to the beginning. Don't the universities belong to the government?
Yeah.
See, you got to remember that state funded school is the government. Who took the land? Who took the land for the college to be there? It was the government, right? Who appropriated the funds for these colleges to get built? The so called government, right? Who's passing all these laws for them to keep taking all this land? The government. They're the same entity. Wow, wow, wow. Checking the chat too before my head fall off. I did not think that far down that article would get that deep. I'm finna repost it too, so if anybody want it, and that's not even done.
Oh my goodness.
What you done
Hold
came across?
on.
I'm just posting this article in the chat just in case anybody missed it earlier. They can get it.
Of all the days not to bring my computer home. I was looking at the Gettysburg. I was looking up universities near Gettysburg, right? And then there's a Gettysburg College, and it says before the Civil War and thereafter, the college has stood as a beacon of intellectualism and social responsible. Of course, it's okay. There's a okay. I'm trying to find information on the Gettysburg College. Trying to figure out which colleges were near Gettysburg.
Sorry about that. Somebody called.
Now, like I said, I was trying to figure out what colleges are near Gettysburg, and again, there's a Gettysburg College. And I'm trying to put up when did this college get established. It says the history of Gettysburg College is forever connected with the Civil War battle that took place nearby from July 1st to July 3rd, 1863. And one student's interest has sparked a new tour on the subject. So how come you never hear about colleges being overran or colleges being interrupted while being built?
During the wartime.
Yeah. I mean, because these would be considered innocent civilians, right?
And where did you get off? Hold on, man. So you had people in the fields, construction crews, soldiers. Che- Man, listen, somebody lying.
You think
I'm
so?
not. Yeah, I'm not. I'm just gonna call it how it is. Somebody lying. Yeah, but y'all got to remember about the South. Flip it. What you know about the Confederate is flipped. We were the Confederate. Remember what a Confederate is? Isn't a Confederate a bunch of tribes and bands joining together for a war, basically?
Exactly what it is.
Oh, okay.
It's called a confederation.
Confederation. The Confederate States. Facts, Antonio. That if you do study these colleges, it's predominantly families sitting on them councils. But I'm gonna go back and say it again. Who paved the way for this?
What's going on, Joe 47? Have safe travels.
Peace. I had to get myself back grounded. Start back at 1965. Them dollar values was like getting under my skin. Hold on. Okay. 1965. Public Law 89 through 106. Established specific research grant programs to finance selected projects over a maximum of 5 years. Later became the Special Grants Program. Earmarked funds to address specific problems of constituents' concerns or multi-state problems. CSRS would call annually for proposals in areas singled out by Congress for special attention. In 1966, 1.6 million was offered. In 1967 to 1970, 1.7 million per year, 282,000 200,000 per year was allocated to 16. Okay, they got them too close to 16. Allocated to the 16, 1890 institutions for an average of $17,658 each. In 1972, agricultural research allocation was increased significantly, and the Tuskegee University became eligible to receive these funds, making it the 17th 1890 institution. Okay, here legislation, say funding mechanism. In 1968, Congress abolished special program funding except for 1.6 million for agricultural marketing. These funds were to be allocated by formula. 1972, Federal Rural Development Act. Research, SAES, and Extension Service could receive funds for rural development and small farm research. And extension. Extension's Title V authorized work in rural communities in agricultural and non-agricultural fields. The 1972 Act authorized 10 million for 1974, 15 million for 1975, 20 million for 1976. Actual expenditures were much less. 3 million was provided in each of the first 3 years, split between extensions and research, and allocating among the SAES on a basis similar to the Hatchet formula, except that 10% was reserved for interstate projects. Funding continued at 3 million per year for another 4 years. After the initial authorization expired in 1977, funds were to be dispersed 4% for federal administration, 10% for multi-state work, 20% equally distributed among states, and 33% each according to states' percentage of U.S. rural and farm population.
Stop right there for a second.
You noticing that too?
No, I'm noticing that, but I just noticed something else. Remember when they said the Land Grant Act was started in relations for two things. Number one, because the Union was losing the war, and number two, they needed to go a different direction, if you will. Of course, I'm paraphrasing
Mm-hmm.
from liberal arts schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I looked up Gettysburg College, and Gettysburg College is a private 4-year liberal arts college.
What? Why would you? Never mind. Let me hush.
United States is founded in liberal arts college in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. United States founded in 1832. Why does that year sound so familiar? Isn't that when the Trail of Tears started? 1832. And then it states that the campus is adjacent to the Gettysburg battlefield. And then as you scroll down, it says the former name of the college is Pennsylvania College. Then it says motto in English, do great work. Type is a private liberal arts college, established in 1832. Then it says religious affiliation, Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. So it was once a church. Campus rural has 200 acres. The founder was Samuel Simon Schmucker. The nickname was Bullet. It says Gettysburg College was founded in 1832 as a sister institution for the Lutheran Theological Seminary. Both owe their inception to Thaddeus Stevens, a radical Republican and abolitionist from Gettysburg. The college's original name was Petersburg College. It was founded by Samuel Simon Schmucker. In 1839, 7 years after Gettysburg College was first founded, Doctors George McCullough, founder of Jefferson Medical College, Samuel George Morton, and others founded a medical school, Pennsylvania Medical College, which was located in Philadelphia. The school had money troubles within 4 years, forcing all founder members to leave their posts. Leave their post. Forts. Anyway, after a failed agreement to combine the Philadelphia College of Medicine in 1858, closed in 1859, the faculty began enrolled into Pennsylvania Medical College. The college was forced to close its medical school in 1861. Students from the seceding southern states had withdrawn to return home, leaving without adequate revenue. In June 1863, southern Pennsylvania was invaded by Confederate forces during the Gettysburg Campaign. Many local militia forces were formed around the area between Chambersburg and Philadelphia to force the oncoming foe. Among these units was Gettysburg 26th Pennsylvania Emergency Militia Regiment. So they're saying that they took these schools over and they used them as forts.
But we got to remember when the Morrill Act starts, what does it say? See, it says it last and it puts agriculture and everything else first. But what else is on that list that school teach?
Military tactics.
Oh, could it actually been a military school fronting as agriculture and science?
Could it have been a fort fronting as a school?
Exactly. People go in, don't come out. Something else I noticed too. You notice how the shift of funding goes. As they move their people out west, you notice the funds start going out there.
Yeah.
Could it be that's why during the so-called Civil War they were burning down the fields? Because I see that the more farmland that you had, the more money got allocated to your state and your district.
So if they burn the farmland, then you don't get any money allocated.
Mm-mm. And that's how you end up with farms in Iowa and all this place in the middle where they went, Nebraska and all these places, because they were giving you the more space you had, the more money they was giving you. We know about it now because they subsidize farmers. Farmers been get think about it. Farmers been getting government assistance since they've been farming.
Basically, yeah.
So then you have to ask yourself: is the neighborhoods and the cities that we live in are underfinanced because that's who they taxed? They took the money from our areas and dumped them out to them areas. They kept saying that the states had to match them. How
Right.
else could the states match the money? You would have to be taking the resources from another class.
That's just true.
Mm, 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 mm. One of them stories that just make you want to, man.
I bet if we go and look at all these universities that are land grant universities, they they were built next to liberal arts colleges. They closed the liberal arts colleges, and then the universities came up after them. How many universities were finished being built in 1865? I wonder,
Mm-hmm.
when the so-called war was over, because there was a lot
Mm-hmm.
of them built during the war. How many
Yep.
were finished being built after the war was over, or right before the war was over? Because that's
Mm-hmm.
it. Sounds like these colleges are military forts.
Yeah.
So it's like the colleges are getting raided. Crap. Could these have been? Because you got to remember one particular time, universities they weren't you didn't pay to go to college. It was free.
It was free. Could that be recruiting centers? Could that be how you shift the population? Like I said, people go in, they don't come out.
Or because think about this. Remember, all these universities, especially these liberal arts universities, were once churches, and if they were once churches, that means they were once what? Indian schools.
And that's what I mean. People go in and don't come out.
So if they were Indian schools, and these schools were being raided, and they were being held captive, and they was taking the money from these schools, and then putting them into the land grant schools. I'm just thinking out in the open right now.
No, I'm finna bring a sludge hammer to this whole scenario. Because you just said something. People was being held captives. Who was being held captives? At this time, they were taking Indian children off to these schools, right?
Yeah,
Could it be a possibility the reason they was able to manipulate to get certain things were to get children back?
very possible. And if you're trying to get your children back, this is not a time of slavery. This is a time that you're a prisoner of war. But if if you if you
You ain't gonna bust no shot because they got your child.
that not only that, but could the majority of the slaves, aka prisoners of war, been in the lower south? And for
Mm,
those that did not raise a weapon against the United States, were
they gave
allowed
them
to own
land.
land out west.
Yep, that's what it stated. Whoever did not raise their raise no, not weapon. Let's say it right. Whoever did not raise arms, and we have
Raise
to remember
arms.
what arms
Right.
mean. You can speak up and stand out. That's raising arms. That's taking arms out.
Yeah, we gotta do some more research on on these liberal arts colleges
Mm-hmm.
because if you look up these liberal arts colleges, you will find that they are all of them are almost all of them are associated with churches. What do we know about the churches? The churches was the way that they were educating our children.
Indoctrinating them. Yeah.
So who were the teachers in these churches? Us, right?
Will have to be at the first time. Yeah.
Because if you think back to the first Indian school, you had a minister, right? And then that minister was teaching the students, and then the students ended up becoming teachers, and then they would go teach and run other uh, Indian schools.
Mm-hmm. Because we got to remember this too. During Reconstruction, we still in our home in the South. See, that's the one thing that I keep remembering with this. The so-called Negro dominated what side of the so-called Civil War? The South, right?
So,
Because we were the party that had a civil dispute with the North,
hmm
and people got to start remembering this because where did they get a large enough European population to dominate North and South?
you said when or where?
When? When and where? When, where, how?
There's never, to my knowledge, there's never been a larger population to dominate the South or the
Or even the North at that.
right. Because at this time, a lot of people still coming over with women and children.
Hmm. And the big migration haven't happened yet.
Nope. Well, you had to clear land in order for that to happen. Because if you hadn't, you would have had a lot of massacres.
Exactly. Now, since we're back at this time, and if you ever, I don't know if people study like current events and stuff, you never notice there's a large foreign population in the middle of the U.S. where them one dots at
Hmm
Minnesota, South Dakota.
Yeah.
And then we read the thing when Lincoln was telling them, don't worry about the South, we just gonna go west.
Yeah, I remember him saying that. Well, I remember it being written about. I don't remember him
Yeah.
saying it. Oak Cliff Tiff says how to make a Negro a Christian. Read it.
Basically, yeah. Think about it. If we know that we was fighting, right? History tells us we had people fighting all the way up to the 1900s, right?
Hmm
How did you calm people down? Same thing. Could they use these schools that started as forts and brought people in and pacified them? Just because you use a book and control somebody's mind does not mean that's not a war.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Your individuality has been under attack, regardless whether it's physical, mental. It's still a war in that sense. I don't know. It's just weird. And all the way up to this day, they still pumping money through these colleges. Think about it. What institutions bring in more finances than anything else, and don't even have to disclose what happens to it? I seen in 1977 when I seen Kane next, 150 something. Man, come on.
And that's the reason why the universities have access to all the public records and all the documents.
Mm-hmm. Because they are the government. Nobody never realized that a lot of these top politicians and stuff, when they done, they either go to college and be a professor, or they come from a college professor and go into government.
That's true.
Wow. Think about all of them. I think the only one might be the one we don't got now. So we can rewind it to Obama. Just remember college courses in law, the speaking engagements and stuff before. Look at what all of them do.
Yeah, all of them get paid to go through speaking engagements normally in colleges. Yeah,
They get the
$50,000.
libraries that's built on them college properties. Hmm.
Dude, this is crazy.
Think about it. Every president gets like his little library and all this stuff. They get honorary memberships to different universities.
Honorary degrees.
Hmm. The majority of their major meetings with high people are at the universities. Most lectures with world leaders are at the universities. Wow. The universities basically got the whole planet in debt right now. What did we undig?
That I don't know. I mean, dude, this is beyond crazy.
Yeah, like Oak Cliff Tiff just mentioned, Bush has a grand library at SMU. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you think about it, all presidential libraries sit on college campuses somewhere. Look at the fraternities, Skull and Bones, all these fraternities that were ran on these college campuses. Oh man,
I'm sending Danielle a text message. I'm gonna ask her what battle was fought near Virginia Tech. What Civil War battle was fought near Virginia Tech?
the Battle of Blacksburg. I'm just guessing. I just threw that one out there. I don't even know if that's a real battle. Come back in, I'm like, man,
It might be a battle back because there was a lot of birds.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see the Battle of Blacksburg. Let me look it up. If I see it,
Man, that better not come back. That please don't. You know how some things you want to see, but some things you don't want to see. Yeah. TMH, I got a question for you.
hopefully I got an answer, bro.
These universities have their own charters and bylaws and constitutions, right?
Of course.
Universities are sovereign. I just remembered that. How many crimes happen on a university? These so-called rape cases, shootings and stuff, and just poof.
Hazing,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
kids dying from alcohol poisoning.
Drug
And nobody,
overdoses.
and nobody at the university gets sued. They just pay money to keep it moving like a business.
Man, check this out. Joe Paterno. Need I say more? Joe Paterno.
Mm.
Ain't the university still there?
Yeah.
But all that illegal stuff happened at the university, at university functions that was sponsored by this university, right?
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
And only one person went to jail.
And the university's still raking in the dough. They in the money.
Wow.
But look at how many other times it didn't happen. And we just don't pay attention to it. Think about it. Same thing how we mentioned about the NFL being nonprofit. A university can have a college player shoot somebody, kill somebody, still play football, and pass them on to the NFL. And if you think I'm making that up, look up the Aaron Hernandez case before he made it to the NFL.
Wow. Dude, I'm blown away.
Technically, a university is untouchable.
And it's one of the few entities where it can increase its tuition based off of NCAA rankings and difficulty or degree of what do you call it, graduation,
Hmm.
and no one ever questions it. Yet a petroleum company increases their profits by 3%, and everybody's up in arms. Universities on average increase their tuition by 10% every year. No one says anything.
Yeah. We reading that they can do it. Hold on. Think about it. You go to college, play sports, so they make billions off of you and don't give you a dime and tell you you ain't gonna get nothing.
Call
Ain't
you a
that
student.
slavery?
That's
And
to
call
call
you a
you a
student.
student athlete.
Mm-hmm. A student, a pupil. Been looking at the wrong institutions.
So the battle that was fought, the Civil War battle that was fought near Blacksburg was the Battle of Cloyd's Mountain.
Virginia Tech. Hold on, who the Mountaineers over there? They
That's
the Hokies. West Virginia's the Mountaineers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. God diggity dang it.
They said it was the most. It was the Battle of Cloyd's Mountain, the most significant battle in Southwest Virginia, fought in Pulaski County. Took place May 9th, 1864, between Union forces under General George Crook and Confederate forces under General Albert Jenkins. Future President Rutherford B. Hayes and William McKinley both fought at Cloyd's Mountain. Oh crap! Oh, dude. The Battle of New River Bridge. The Battle of New River Bridge was fought in Radford. After the Confederates defeat the Battle of Cloyd's Mountain on May 9th, 1864, Union forces George Crook moved towards the Central Depot to burn the 700-foot covered wooden railroad bridge spanning the New River. This bridge was the main target of the attacking Union forces. It had long been the Union objective. Since it was the weakest point along the Virginia and Tennessee Railroad, as the Federal forces approached the long bridge, the outnumbered Confederates withdrew across the New River after destroying some heavy guns in order to defend the bridge and Central Depot from the opposite bank. The Confederates were able to take several smaller artillery pieces with them, and the artillery duel ranged across the river for several hours. Union soldiers placed several rail cars loaded with hay inside the covered bridge and prepared to set fire to the Captain Michael Egan of the 15th West Virginia Infantry Regiment. This is crazy. I'm trying to figure out how close this is to Radford University. Because Radford University is literally right down the street from Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
And if we do some research, you'll probably find out that Radford University was probably a liberal arts school.
Grand Rising Michael George. Peace No Sellout. Grand Rising Iron Flying Squirrel. Antonio Baptiste. Doodoo Vision. Just catching everybody that came in the room real quick.
I'm about to do some research on how close that battle is to Radford University.
To the school, yeah.
Virginia Tech. Because if my theory serves me correct, they were using the liberal arts schools that had already been built in the 1830s as forts and basically hostage posts while they was building the daggone the other university, Landgrave University, right across the street or right down the street.
But I'm trying to find out who was building the universities. Because you know what I'm realizing? These are a lot of buildings that spring up in a shorter period of time.
Yeah.
But you know what I realized that was in there?
What's that?
They allowed funding for repairing old damaged buildings. Because there's no way. You're going to say you see all the colleges and you look at all the ones. You get what I'm saying? What if they were just old buildings? Because there's no way you're building all this, fighting the war. You're going to say moving people. You got to remember the Trail of Tears was just happening.
Yeah, the Trail of Tears happened. Remember, the Trail of Tears started happening in the early 1830s. The Civil War happened 30 years later.
Exactly.
I don't know if they were still moving people over. Somebody was moving out there because they were building schools out there. So
bingo. That's why I'm like,
Um,
then the forestry schools explain where they got the wood for the ships. When I mean ships, I'm talking about steamboats.
right. Now here's the funny thing. Would you think of a man of a cloth as a as somebody that's going to fight in the war?
Not off what colonization would cause me to view them as. You're gonna say in the image.
It says on May 9th, 1864, after receiving reports of Union forces in the area, Jenkins prepared for defense at Cloyd Mountain near Dublin in Pulaski County. Local men joined in the defense, including Reverend William P. Hickman, minister of the Blacksburg Presbyterian Church and the New Dublin Presbyterian Congregation. Hickman's church in Blacksburg, now Cabo Fish Taco, is the only antebellum worship structure still standing in the town. The current New Dublin Presbyterian Church was built in 1875 and incorporated an earlier structure. Reverend Hickman was wounded in the fray and died later of his injuries. Early fighting at Chloe's Mountain appeared to favor Confederates in their strong defensive position, but persistent Union attacks eventually broke through, forcing the Confederates to retreat. The battle lasted for one fierce hour, devolving into brutal hand-to-hand combat. One of the participants recalled that most of the regiments engaged in it had served in greater and more important battles, but all united hold on, but all united in the opinion that for fierce and deadly intensely Floyd's Mountain exceeded them all. Making matters worse, a fire broke out on the battlefield and many wounded soldiers perished in the flames. Confederate forces lost not only the battle, but also their commander. Jenkins was wounded in battle and later died in the hospital due to improper care after an amputation. Casualties were high for the relatively low number of troops engaged and the short duration of the battle: 688 Union and 538 Confederate. After the battle, victorious Union forces pressed further into the Virginia, burning the Virginia and Tennessee Railroad depot at the Dublin before turning towards the strategically important New Ridge Bridge. The central depot, Radford, Dublin Depot, was important as supply depot in one of the three locations in Virginia where the captured runaway slaves were kept until their owners could reclaim them. The current historic depot building dates to 1913. Crook destroyed the New River Bridge on May 10th and turned towards Blacksburg the next day. Crook's men camped on the grounds on Mountain View. Man, this is crazy.
So the battle happened right outside of Blacksburg, right outside of Virginia Tech. So if it did, why wouldn't that be a fort or a staging ground for supplies? Because we have to also remember too, if you're fighting a war, you would still have to have some place to where supplies and stuff at. You know what I'm saying? They're not running all the way back to where some place in Massachusetts to get stuff for a war then coming back. You will have to have this stuff already staged somewhere.
Yeah, Virginia Tech wasn't built until 1872. That was almost 8 years after the
Yeah, but remember what they just said about that church? It encompassed a pre-existing structure.
right.
Probably nice for us to look up and see what was there before Virginia Tech. Because also they changed a lot of these names too, like from their original names.
Hmm. That's true. Radford.
You done found something?
Sorry about that. Hello, can you hear me?
Uh-huh. I hear.
Okay. So I was looking at Radford University,
Mm-hmm.
and Radford University is located in the New River Valley of the Blue Ridge Mountains in southwestern Virginia. So that's where that war took place. But it wasn't found. It wasn't found until 1910. What was before? This is one of the few schools that's not even associated with a. It's a public university. It's not even. It's not even affiliated with the church. But I bet you it's not too far from that battle was fought. I don't know. Yeah, man, this is a little crazy for me right now. Yeah, I'm thrown off just a touch.
Don't worry, me too. I'm like, huh? Like my whole balance got thrown off.
Good night. This is
It just got me looking up something real quick.
Antonia says all the institutions are connected, tied into media and the prison systems. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it at all. Oh man. But it definitely makes sense. Universities are pretty much the lifeline of the United States. Seems like everything runs through them. And they grab and maintain land through the universities, through the land grants. Because if you remember, there was a division of the government that took over issuing the land grants to the universities. I can't remember which authority it was, but we'll find it. So, so what are everyone's thoughts out there? Because I'm pretty much at a loss for words right now from the standpoint that this civil war appears to be using old buildings or once schools, churches, and universities as force to take over land. And in some instances, they actually, according to history, took over the universities where these wars were going to be taking place to either ambush or to fight at or fight nearby. I don't know. Mm.
No, because a different something pop. I won't say different. I thought of something,
What's that?
and it's like I was saying before. If you fight a war, the most important thing in fighting a battle, and I don't mean like with guns, any battle, whether it's a corporate negotiating, meeting anything. Your ability to get to your resources faster and more effective than your opponent.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying again. We're looking at a lot of these colleges and stuff in the areas. The school don't have to be the battleground. The school could have been where when, uh, when soldiers are not active, where they slept at, where they ate at. Remember, these schools got dormitories, cafeterias.
Wow. That's right.
Think about it. You ain't sleeping out here in the wild. You fighting Indians who know this land. You ain't sleeping out here in the wilderness lighting fires because the people that you're trying to hide from gonna find you. So where else, if we're moving across, think about it. They're complaining. We know about the Indian wars that's going on to the early 1900s. So these people can't be staying outside.
They need sturdy physical structures to protect them when they're not, quote unquote, fighting.
Exactly. You need a place to store your food because without food and fresh water, guess what? You can't do anything. So how can you store food and fresh water out here in the wilderness where there's an indigenous population? See, and this popped up because I remember years ago when I was reading about the Vietnam War that the U.S. soldiers, they were getting found because of their diet and the different foods that they ate and stuff. It was easier for the people of that landmass to smell them out. So wouldn't the same thing apply here?
Yeah.
Not to mention, forget about the people that's killing you. Ain't there's wild animals and stuff out here?
Uh, yeah.
Ain't we on a landmass that experience all four seasons?
Yeah.
Because my next question, I wonder how many of these universities at this time are sitting in a town. Where is the what's around the university at this time? Because we know it can't be no cities. Ain't no cities built up around these universities because the land was snatched. And so if they snatching land, that mean they snatching land with stuff built on it already, people already living on it for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Mm. Yeah, this one here been woo woo.
Oak Cliff Tips said they have their own police department. And then she asks, "Are these institutions on mounds?" Oak Cliff Tips. Some of the universities are on mounds.
Yeah, because you have to remember what they did. It stated that they took land, that they picked the land that they want, and deemed okay, this is a university for this purpose on it. But if you think about it, they didn't take on the name as universities as we know them until later on. When they were first conceived, they was teaching how to farm, how to mechanize, and military, right? Why are these schools in the middle of nowhere teaching military tactics for who and what?
Doodle Vision says, "Look up Turkey tribe," and Hokie is a turkey.
Mmm.
Let me look it up. Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Doodoo Vision.
Yeah, railroads and lakes next to the schools. Think about it. Fresh water source, transportation for constant supplies. These are things that you're going to have. And matter of fact, wasn't the Railroad Commission already? Ooh, when did we read the railroad started? Oh,
You gotta remember there was two railroad campaigns.
mm-hmm.
There was a
I know
railroad
one
campaign that
early.
started out west. The one, the
Yeah,
one, the one north and east started earlier than the one out west, because the one out west didn't start until after the right before the Trail of Tears.
around the same time. Yeah. Oh, Antonio Pattis, we already know the church history because what you have to remember, if you tie in the university history, that is the church. Because all these schools and universities, majority of them started as churches first. Presbyterian, Protestant, all these different dialects of their faith had their own so-called church that started as a school. Well, it started as a school first, then they became churches. Yeah, we broke them down, Antonio. Flipped them over inside out, shook out the pockets. We even took the lint out. So yeah, but yeah, the university and colleges, they tie back in. The schools basically tie back in. I guess it's getting closer about that time. What it do, no settle out? How you feeling this rising?
Peace, y'all. Grand rising, everybody.
Rising.
I know my brain is like on overload processing right now. What we read.
Yeah, yours and mine too.
Any last closing remarks for today?
Do
You
your
got it, T. Mitch.
genealogy. Do your genealogy. Find your people, so your people will know who you are. You will know who they are, so they can leverage your talent, and then y'all can find out what part they played in this great mess called America. I relinquish the mic.
Same, same thing. Find out who you are. Know who you are. So this, whatever we want to call this, we unraveling conundrum right here. Never happens again. So, whoo, I'm gonna have to digest a whole lot right now. On that note, it's been another great grand rising. Until tomorrow rising. Peace.
Peace, y'all.